Let's talk about anxious and avoidant attachment when it comes to the heart. So because we are doing the Heal Your Heart Challenge, I have needed to reconceptualize how the heart works in attachment styles. And what I've basically come up with is the notion that if you're anxiously attached, you are giving your heart away. It is basically the space where you pull your heart out of yourself and you grant it to your partner. So in romantic relationships, if you are anxiously attached, you might notice that you kind of start to feel like you lose control of your heart. And that's simply because it is being held by someone that is not you. And sometimes at the end of the relationship, we actually don't call the heart back. So it can be left out in the abyss. And that's why it makes detaching from partnerships so difficult if you are anxiously attached. It kind of feels fragile, like if I let this person go, I don't know if I'm ever going to meet another person. And when you think about it, it may be because this first individual has been holding your heart the whole time. If they are to leave, where does your heart go? If you are avoidantly attached, I conceptualize it as you leaving your heart over your shoulder, or just kind of like left behind in the back of your awareness. It is essentially the act of you saying, I don't have time right now to deal with you. So you take your heart and you put it over your shoulder and you just say, I can't feel things right now. I'm not ready to feel things right now. I will get to this eventually. But you might not ever really get to it simply because more important things come up or other priorities take precedence. And in avoidantly attached individuals, when we introduce a partner in front of you, they're going to get to know you. They're going to get to know you, but your heart is still way back there. So it takes time for someone to form secure attachment simply because your heart has to warm up to the new partner. So if you are avoidantly attached, you might notice that you feel known by your partner and it takes you a little bit longer to warm up, to try to build like trust and intimacy. And then one day your partner might say, hey, what's that? And you might feel exposed. You might feel super vulnerable because suddenly they're identifying that half of your feelings or a portion of your heart is way back there. And the way that you build secure attachment for avoidance is you actually learn how to encourage your heart on your own to bring itself back forward. It works when you have a partner, but you also kind of have to do the work on your own of saying like, how do I make my heart feel safe again? How do I learn to feel feelings again in a space that makes me feel okay, where I can process in a way that makes sense for me? And in avoidant attachment, the heart, when you have the right partner and you've done the work, your heart is going to come forward and it's actually going to rest back in you. And that's how you form secure attachment. Now, if you watch my video on disorganized attachment, you might have seen me talk about the oscillation between avoidant and anxious tendencies when you're disorganized. It's also known as fearful avoidant. And in disorganized, use a visualization of your heart kind of going out of you and giving it to someone when you're anxious. Then the heart comes back, passes through you, and goes over your shoulder into the secondary priority when you feel avoidant. And this kind of flow, that back and forth between anxious and avoidant, it allows you really brief moments in time where your heart actually comes home. And you might know these moments. It's a space where you actually feel utterly calm and totally like yourself. It's really the grounding presence and that brief moment where you say, whew, I actually feel really good. I feel really at peace. I feel really calm. But then when you're triggered, you might notice that your heart goes away from you. And then it comes back briefly, and then it goes away from you once more. So when you're healing your attachment style, I want you to consider which direction your heart is going. Are you swinging forward? Are you giving your heart away? Are you leaving it behind? Or are you doing a combination of both? The more information you have and the more you begin to recognize which direction your heart is going, the easier it's going to be for you to start to call your heart home and have it rest in you for longer periods of time until eventually it learns that it never needs to leave. If you have any questions on attachment styles and how I conceptualize them with the heart, please leave me a comment or shoot me a DM, and check out lostgirltherapy.com for more information.